Italy look to put the disappointment of Lille behind them, while Scotland aim to keep the pressure up on Ireland. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Two teams who feel like they should have beaten France are going head to head in Rome this weekend, and it's looks like an exciting prospect here of these two facing each other. So it's Italy versus Scotland. It's at the Stadio Olimpico even in Rome. It's on Saturday, 9th of March 2024. Kickoff is 2:15 GMT. Last year was Scotland 26, Italy 14. Had a Blair Kinghorn hat-trick in that one, and that guy was in electric form. Then this year it's Duhan van der Merwe, another great back for Scotland in electric form coming into this one as well. And Italy, they're going to have to find a way to stop him, I think. But let's have a look at the two teams. So I'm going to start, first of all, run quickly down through the Italy team. So you got the front row, Danilo Fischetti, Giacomo Nicotera and Simone Ferrari. Second row, Niccolò Cannone and Federico Ruzza. Back row, Sebastian Negri, Michel Lambro and Ross Vincent. The halfbacks, Martin Page, Relo and Paolo Garbisi. Left wing got Mantiawani. Centres, Tommaso Manincello and Juan Ignacio Brex. Right wing, Luis Lina, and fullback is Ange Capuozzo. On the bench, you got Gianmarco Lucchesi, Mirko Spagnolo, Giosue Zolocci, Andrea Zambonin, Lorenzo Canone, Stephen Barley, Leonardo Marin, and Federico Mori. That's your Italian team. Then the Scottish team, front row is Pierre Schumann, George Turner, Xander Fagerson. Second row, Grant Gilchrist and Scott Cummings. The back row, Andy Christie, Rory Darge and Jack Dempsey. Halfbacks, George Horn and Finn Russell. Left wing, Duhan van der Merwe. Centres, Cameron Redpath and Hugh Jones. Right wing, Kyle Stain, and fullback is Blair Kinghorn. On the bench then you have Ewan Ashman, Alec Hepburn, Elliot Miller-Mills, Sam Skinner, Jamie Ritchie, Matt Ferguson, Ali Price and Kyle Rowe. So we're going to have a closer look at that Italian team. So the front row there, you got Fischetti, Nicotera and Ferrari is basically as strong as Italy can put out at the moment. And, I think, they've had kind of good and bad moments in the tournament. Fischetti maybe not shining as much as he did last year. But, it's going to be, I think they're well matched. I think these two front rows, you got kind of probably the form loose head of last year's Six Nations going against the form loose head of this year's, so far at least. Then second row is nice and settled. You got Niccolò Cannone and Federico Ruzza. Delighted to see, that last year Italy just chop and change all the time in their second row, and seeing them having a settled partnership in there can only be good for the team. I think the back row though is nowhere near as settled. Basically, you got Michel Lambro there, 7 is kind of the anchor, and then those around them are changing week to week. So you got for this one, Sebastian Negri at 6, and Ross Vincent, who did decently against France there at 8 as well. Then I think Paige Relo was the first 9 for Italy this year to start 2 games in a row. I'm pretty sure we had Alessandro Garbisi, then Varney, and then Paige Relo last time out, so he's getting a start back to back. Paolo Garbisi though seems to have the 10 shirt wrapped up. Same on the left wing as well. Montiawani guy makes some decent amount of meters with the ball. I'm going to see that a bit later as well. Centres then, you got Tommaso Manincello and Juan Ignacio Brex. So Brex is the fixture in the midfield there, and his partner again is changing all the time. I think maybe this combination though, himself and Manincello, is the one that they want to have in there in terms of kind of long term, but injury and form and stuff like that have meant that there's been tons of chopping and changing in that midfield through the tournament. And another position that hasn't been nailed down by anyone at all, is the right wing, and Lewis Line is the latest player to get a shot at doing that. Then you got Ange Capuozzo, who's just box office stuff there at fullback, and you really want to see him getting ball in space. And, he has been tried on the right wing as well, but I think being a fullback, he just has a lot more space to run into returning kicks and stuff, and finding those gaps between forwards and being able to break that line and get his team on the front foot and get the crowd up on their feet as well. On the bench then, you got Lucchesi, Spagnolo and Zalocci as the replacement front row. They have struggled a little bit when they've come on, but so have the Scottish replacement front row as well. So it's going to be about, maybe that first scrum engagement between, once the bench has been emptied, who comes out on top of that going into the last kind of quarter of the game, could be a big kind of indicator of, how the game is going to finish as well. You got Andrea Zambonin, there at, covering the second row, and then Lorenzo Canone covering the back row, who probably feels like, he should be pushing for a start in the team as well. It's good to see some really good competition there for the back row as well for Italy. So we've got a 5-3 split. We've got Stephen Barney covering 9. 9 again, another position that hasn't really been nailed down with Paige Relo. If he goes well, at the start, Varney's going to keep him honest, I think, when he comes off the bench as well. You got Leonardo Marin, and then Federico Mori there as well. Both of them, we're not sure how many minutes. Mori maybe see a bit more minutes than Marin, coming on towards the end. You might see Mori, he obviously come on in the centre. You could see him come on the wing as well, depending on, what's actually happening in the game. On to then the Scotland team. So Schoeman, kind of alluded to it, probably the best form loose head prop in the tournament so far, at least for my money. George Turner has, backed up, I think, last year's performance pretty well too. Xander Fagerson, he's come back into the team and he has added a lot, especially in the set piece for Scotland. Then you got Gilchrist and Cummings there in the second row. Not the combination that they started the tournament with, but still doing pretty well. Back row as well, kind of has mixed the match a little bit through the tournament. You got Andy Christie there at 6. Rory Darge, I think, is it 2 games now? He's back as a starter and a captain. Then Jack Dempsey, who's been the standout back rower for Scotland for me from the tournament so far. George Horn there at 9, and 9 chopping and changing a lot. You had Ben White in there for a lot of the tournament, and I think it's one where they still haven't found the 9 to play beside Russell, but Russell is so talented. He can he can make it work, whoever's inside him there anyway. But yeah, Russell there at 10, co-captain again. I think he's gone well as a co-captain, actually. He's got a really good manner, speaking to the referees and stuff like that as well. Not the kind of the fiery temperament that I may have expected, the kind of combative type thing from him. It's been more kind of being more kind of respectful maybe than I would have expected. I was kind of expecting kind of a Johnny Sexton type captaincy from him, but I've been very impressed with him so far. Then someone who's been hugely impressed was Duhan van der Merwe, 5 tries in the tournament, and the guy is just absolutely on fire. And if he gets into space, you're going to have trouble stopping him. Cam Redpath then comes into the centres with no Tuipulotu. For this one, Hugh Jones there beside him, so Redpath with a chance to step up from the bench. Kyle Steyn there on the right wing, and then Blair Kinghorn back in at fullback there. So Kinghorn, he got a hat-trick last year against Italy, and he'd love to get a try or 2 in this one as well and help his team to that bonus point that I think they desperately need out of this one. On the bench then, Ashman, Hepburn and Miller Mills. They've had, we've seen them go well off the bench at times, and we see them struggle as well. So it's one of these ones where your first kind of hit ups and your first set pieces, how did they go for you, and how is that going to affect you for those kind of last 20 minutes or so. Sam Skinner then covering the second row. You got Jamie Ritchie covering the back row. I think he's done really well since he, lost the captaincy and lost his place in the starting team as well. I think he's put his head down and he's kept working. Matt Ferguson, he's kind of been in and out of squads, involvement, and he'll want to impress to keep himself in there as well with a chance. And, the fact that Kinghorn is there at fullback means no Ben Healy on the bench. So there's a 6-2 split. Ali Price then covering 9, and Kyle Rowe, who I think has done well when others have been absent, and he's been asked to kind of fill in and start, and expect good impact from him from the bench as well. So those are the teams kind of in a little more depth now. Let's have a look at some of the stats of the two teams. So far in the tournament, Italy have got 4 tries, Scotland 7. Van der Merwe with 5 tries, scoring more than the entire Italy team. So Italy need to step up in that regard. Goal kicking then, Italy at 70%, Scotland 100%, which is an amazing feat after 3 rounds of this tournament. And, they're going to want to keep that going in this one as well. Attacking 22 entries, just 13 from Italy, 21 from Scotland. Carries then 332 for Italy, 290 for Scotland. So Italy carrying more than Scotland. And, Monty Ioane with 34 carries is right up there near the top of the table. Jack Dempsey, the most carries for Scotland at 23. Then meters carried 1776 for Italy and 1716 for Scotland. So a bit tighter on that, which would, indicate that Scotland are carrying for more meters per carry than Italy are. And, in terms of meters made as well, you got 2 really big units and big names in the terms as well. You got Monty Ioane third place overall with 284 meters, and then Duhan van der Merwe 233 meters in 4th place. But from those 233 meters, he scored 5 tries. So he's made the most of his carries when he's got the ball. And again, when he gets in behind into space, we've seen it. He is absolutely devastating. And you've got to think, he's going to be really difficult to stop if Italy allow that to happen as well in Rome on Saturday. In terms of offloads then, these two kind of up near the top of the table. 25 for Italy is the joint most in the tournament. Scotland just one back with 24, and Monty Ioane with 6 is the top offloader in the tournament. Finn Russell with 4 is 4th overall and the top offloader for Scotland. And this is another one of these, I think, where you're going to see offloads certainly leading to scores for the teams, and potentially as well leading to either breaks or scores for the opposition as well. Tackles made then, and 91 for Italy. That's the most in the tournament, and 59 for Scotland. So like the top 3 in the tournament, Brex with 11, Menoncello with 10, and Lamero with 9. They're 1, 2, and 3 for missed tackles on the player side of things. Italy then with just 2 line-out steals, so they got to put a bit more pressure on, I think, on that Scotland line-out this weekend. Scotland, I think, top with 5. So, and then in terms of players, Ruzza with Italy's 2, Skinner and Cummings with 2 each for Scotland as well. So, there's, between those 3, you definitely got some players who can pin some opposition ball there. So that's a look at the stats. It just kind of leaves us to talk about how the game is going to go generally. I think, Scotland, they do need that bonus point try. Sometimes we've seen them when they have a target to reach and there's a little bit of pressure on them where they can kind of fold under that a little bit. And, so it's all about, can they get a good start? I think, can they get over that try line in the first kind of 10 minutes or so and kind of settle their nerves, get a little bit of a lead going. And if they do that, then I think they will, work their way towards that bonus point win. But I do think that Italy are going to have a purple patch. We've seen Scotland all through the tournament, Against Wales, took the foot off the gas in the second half and let them come back at them. Against England, England had kind of a purple patch to start, and then Scotland took control. But then like England started coming back at them a little bit towards the end as well. And against France, Scotland looked in control in that first half, didn't score enough points, when they had the chance, and then let France come back over the top of them. And whatever about that, try at the end, Scotland, they should have taken the chances. They should have been out of sight and not let that happen. But I think because of that, Italy will have a purple patch in this one. And it's about whether, they can make the most of that. They haven't made the most of their chances so far in the tournament, so they're going to have to be, step up in terms of the quality of their finishing, especially once they get into that kind of red zone close to the try line. It's not just about, we've seen the skills under pressure sometimes there. We've also seen, decision making as well, where maybe they've got an overlap out there, but they're trying to keep it in the forwards. And by the time they try and swing it out there, Scotland or whoever the defence have already drifted out. And then again, the skills maybe aren't there all the time to be able to finish in tight situations. So, I think in terms of overall, Scotland are going to win, and I think they're going to get that bonus point as well. But I think Italy are going to, we're going to see good performance from Italy, responding to that, heartache of the 13-all draw against France. They're going to want to impress in front of their own crowd, and they're going to be in the game, I think, for a lot of it. But I think Scotland, will kind of stretch away. I think there's just too much quality in that Scotland backline in terms of real threats to score tries for them not to do that. So I'm going to go for a Scotland bonus point win in this one.